Hey guys, it's Amber and welcome to December Daily Day 2 for 2020. So I'm going to be working on the back of my Day 1 project. It is a couple pages long, but I know that I have an enlargement here to work on, and I'm going to keep it to one page because page 3 might have an insert and then this die cut sheet that I already created. So I've really been struggling with this, honestly, for like almost a couple hours. So I printed a photo of this poinsettia that I got. And like, I like the way I cropped it. It did print a little darker than I wanted, but I was trying to do something fun with it. And to be honest with you, I had originally planned to pull an idea from Allie's book, and I was going to do the triangle page with the two crossing pages, and my original plan was to use this awesome holly jelly paper from My Mind's Eye because it's just stunning, and this gold dotted polka dot transparency that's from Michael's because it kind of reflects this. And you know, I played with it for a while. I tried looking at this, look at the magic all around you. It just didn't look right. I love the papers, I love the combination. Something about it just was not vibing for me. So I thought, okay, well, maybe this is too transparent, this is too bold. I'll try it with like green or maybe two greens, and it just, nothing was working. So I really was still for a while unsure of what I wanted to do. And then I saw Allie's Day 2 video where she took a 2x2 pocket like this and added it to a enlargement. And I thought, okay, that's kind of fun, because I've been struggling on where to put my 2 because I didn't really leave myself a good amount of white space, even though I think the photo looks balanced. So I thought, okay, I could do a tag, I could put a transparency, I could put my number 2 on top, would look good. Then I thought maybe I can go a little bit bigger. I kind of took a moment, I looked through my supplies, and I remembered that I have these 3x4 tags, and I thought, okay, that could actually be even better, where I could put a 3x4 pocket, which I had some extras because I've done this before, cut pockets and put them on top of pages. So I'm going to trim this down shorter because right now it's the exact size of the tag, so I'll trim it down to something smaller, but I can still put the 2 on the outside. And I'm trying to decide now. I have this Holiday Magic. I loved this pink Full of Joy, actually, because I thought it really played off well. I had the Spreading Cheer, but the stripes seemed a little stark. And I think what I'm going to do is use this red stripe. It's just kind of the same red tones. And I'm not even going to journal on the front. I think I'm going to keep my journaling to the back. So this is going to be on here. The 2 will be on top of the plastic. I'm going to add some fun trim. I haven't really made a decision on that yet. I have a couple options. One is this May Art metallic ribbon, which is like this awesome, like glittery color. Might be a little too stark, and the other thing is it's not glittery on both sides, so I have to maneuver it or staple it in place so that it would be glittery, but it kind of is a little dark, black and black. I'm also considering this black and red plaid ribbon. I have not even actually opened this yet, but I thought this would at least pull the colors of the black and the red and add just a little bit of a different pattern. I'm not sure I really love that. And then finally, I have this is new and from Michael's as well, this like red velvet ribbon, which again is not velvety on both sides, so I'd have to maneuver it and probably staple in place. I don't like tying my ribbons because they get too bulky, but I could maybe do something like that, which might be subtle, but still provide me with some sort of trim. So I have to figure that out. Let's see what else I've got here. I also have a red twill ribbon that I love using, and it's been in all of my past projects. I might go with something like that. We'll see. But I thought what would really kick this project up a notch would be to do some sort of texture on top of this side of the tag. And then, you know, when you pull the tag out, you can flip it over and read the journaling. I might even type something up that's in the shape, because it's easy to type a 3x4. I can just, you know, attach it to the back, cut it, and I can maybe add a little bit more journaling to it. But I'm thinking what I might do is take this Blissy Jane star stencil and do a texture paste in white over top of this. Kind of, if I position it right, I can kind of miss the words and the hole here. So I'm thinking about doing that. I do have a mink texture glaze, but I don't think I want to mink it because I don't want to accidentally cover anything. But I have this Vicky Bouton molding paste, which should work. I even looked at maybe using this shimmery texture glaze that I have. It's iridescent. I did test it on paper. I don't love it. It's kind of the wrong color for what I'm going for. That's what I think I'm going to do. I've never really done the texture paste on my project before. I'm trying to find a spot here. There we go. That's pretty good. Right there where I let me pull it over to the side here because the star is cut off. I could put it in this position, have the stars interacting with the edges, which is great, and not cover the December memories. So I'm going to grab a little bit of washi tape to tape it in place, and we're going to texture paste together here, which I'm really actually kind of excited to do. I don't really care if it goes over the hole, but I do want to position the rest of it to make sense. And I can even spin it a little if I need to. I'm trying to look at which direction the stars are going here and kind of trying to keep that in mind. So that they're actually pointing upwards. Not that that's super important, but I kind of like them going upwards, and I think I like that position there. It's covering stars on all sides. Okay. I'm going to tape that down. I'm actually going to cover the hole, so hopefully it'll help resist it. And just put a little bit in the corner here. All right, so I'm going to slide this out of the way. Be careful not to lose my number 2. Grab some just regular scrap paper here. And I have the Vicky Bouton texture tool here, or spreader. And I kind of want this to look like thick and textured, but I'm gonna just go little by little here and see kind of how this goes. And I hope this works out because I like this tag and I don't have another one. I only bought one set of these. So here we go, being brave here. I kind of wanna, I think, go from a different direction a little bit and kind of make it sort of look textured and messy. There we go. I'm gonna get that part. It's hard to see because it's white on white, but I want to make sure that every part is actually covered and has some sort of like texture or swirl or something. And then what I might do kind of off camera is grab my heat tool to help dry this a little bit faster. That way I can finish the rest of my project for you on camera. And I think that that actually looks pretty good. It's got some nice lines and texture. It's covering the whole tag like I wanted. That looks really cool. My goal this year with December Daily is to try and be more creative and like think just a little bit more outside the box, because I'm not like, I love to scrapbook. I think I have an eye for design and color and balance, but I'm not always super creative with this kind of mixed media sort of stuff. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go wash everything off, and I think I'm going to go maybe heat set this and let this dry. I gotta figure that out. I don't want it to get warped or anything from being wet too long. So, all right, let me go work on those things. Okay guys, so you saw that I dried it. It's still a little wet to the touch. I kind of actually smeared it a little here, and I tried to smooth it out because you can see my fingerprint. It's not completely dry, but it is darn close after the second one. Like that's still wet because it's really thick there. So I'm gonna leave that for a little bit and work on the rest of the page. But I really like how that is gonna look. I'm really excited about it, actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim the rest of this out and get it punched. And what I'm probably going to do is make sure that it fits my photo. You never know, sometimes when you're printing from home, things don't quite fit like they're supposed to. Let me pull this out, and if I needed to, I could keep the white border if it was a little too small, or I could trim it smaller so that it has a white border from the back of that photo, which is definitely something I have done before. Okay, yeah, it's plenty large, good. So I'm going to continue trimming. And then I'm actually going to adhere it to the back of the other one and then use that as my whole template. I don't want to punch the holes and then have something be misaligned. So let me grab my adhesive. Make sure it's facing the right direction here. So I use Gina K rolling adhesive. Really happy with it. I'm always amazed when I see people using like a ton of adhesive on their layouts. You really don't need like whole strips. The corners is enough. That's actually more than I even normally use, but I don't want the sides to like split or anything. It is repositionable for a brief moment. And I want to focus it up in the left-hand corner here, actually. I think, yeah, because that's where the little bit of greenery is at in my photo. And I'm just going to use my scissors to trim around the edge. You could use a paper cutter for this, but I actually find it's much harder and I don't get as close as just using the scissors because you can feel it slide up the edge of the photo, and it's a really great guide. And I think that that is good. I'm gonna grab my hole punch here. So what I was talking about before is my punch template that I've created. You may have seen it in other videos, but normally, like, say you couldn't see, you know, the holes, you would use this as a guide, and it will always have you perfectly aligned. I created it so it's 8 1/4 inches tall. If something is only 8 inches, I have hash marks. If it's a 4x6, this is where I find the balance works the best. And then I also, when I punch 4x6 tags specifically, I always struggle with trying to line it up so it misses one of the rings. So I even label this like this one's for tags, this one's for photos. So I find it really helpful for when I'm working on December daily especially. But I can already see the holes for this one. So I can just align those and punch. People ask me all the time what punch I have because it's not the one that Allie uses, and it is the one from Michael's Recollections brand. It's actually in their planner section. I recommend it. I've only ever gotten it stuck like once or twice when I've tried to punch transparencies. They don't go through transparencies that are flimsy like a page protector very well. It just gets stuck. So the other thing I need to do is I'm going to grab a different tag while those are drying. I need to figure out where I'm going to trim this. And I'm going to do it with a paper trimmer, not the scissors. So I want to make sure I cut it in the right spot and it's straight. So that's probably, if I take about 1 inch off, I think that will actually be really good. And it'll have like a 3/4 balance. So let's see how it does on this one. Usually I would use my sliding trimmer. I just did it nice and slow there so that it wouldn't like bend or stretch and rip. That actually trimmed out really nicely. And then I'm going to grab my red line tape. I think I might actually do the 1/8 inch. Whenever I have something that is on the outside of the page protector, I like to make sure that it is really stuck on there well. But I don't, because the tag is going to move, I don't want a ton on there. I was going to put it on the outside, but then it really will be visible. So I'm just going to put a strip here. And a strip towards the top because it's going to need support. And I think because red line is so strong that should be good enough. And if I find that it needs more, I can, it's kind of puckering a little bit there. I might need to remove it and reapply it. I'm not sure it'll let me, it's so strong of an adhesive. There we go. Perfect. That's a little better. Okay. And then I am going to like glitter on here. I bought a super awesome glitter tree for my desktop for like holiday spirit while I'm scrapping and in my craft room all month. But it is definitely getting glitter everywhere. It is bringing me lots of joy, just like this poinsettia. Okay, now still don't trust putting that in there, but I want to make sure the 2 is in the right spot. Based on think it's actually going to just be able to go right there in the middle. Okay. And I'm going to remove a couple of the layers of chipboard here, just because this album gets so thick if you don't, like, it's thick even with all the layers of chipboard removed. But usually they peel off pretty smoothly. And these don't have any adhesive on them, so it really doesn't matter. But what I do find is that when you remove them, the rolling dot adhesive is like useless because it just keeps peeling like that. So again, because this is on the outside, I'm going to use some of my Gina K Terrific tape and use that to make sure it's really secure. It's a really nice double-sided adhesive. It actually tears really nicely, and the backing peels off really nicely as well. I knew that that might be too long for the curve. I am an over adhesiver. I admit it, I have a problem. But not with my rolling dot adhesive on photos, it's kind of funny. But with embellishments, they're not going anywhere. Which is important to me because I know that, you know, I'll be looking through these albums for years to come. And so far, nothing has affected the other stuff I've put in because I'm like super overly cautious. Normally this is easier to peel, but there's kind of an indentation from the outside of the chipboard. Sorry, I'm like torturing you here while I try to peel this off. I'm trying to learn how to be more comfortable talking live and not just pre-record everything. But usually I'm so indecisive that I could never, ever record live while I scrapbook because you'd be here for 5 hours sometimes. Okay. Looks like I have a white paint texture-based fingerprint under the adhesive there. Oh well. Most of the time, the tag will be in position. So, pretty simple layout today. The only thing that is really left for me to do is to decide, do my journaling and decide on a ribbon. And if I wasn't concerned about too much texture, I might even do both. I think I'm gonna go with my old standby here of this May Arts ribbon. This is not cheap, but this is the stuff that Amy Gretchen recommended in her video from a couple years ago. I don't know, it might be $14 or $15 a roll. Sometimes I've seen them for $18, but it is really nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the stripes. And I'm considering pulling out my new slot punch. And I want to see how wide it is here. If this wasn't pre-punched, I would definitely use this, but it won't be enough to cover the holes. That's why I was checking how thick it was. But to give me an idea of what it looks like, it would make a really awesome ribbon punch. But I still haven't been able to use it yet, except just to test it. So I'm going to wait on that. I am, however, going to cut my ribbon. I find that if you cut it on a diagonal, it is not going to fray as much. And the other thing that I have learned the hard way is you really should actually push it through the tag first and then cut it, because it will fray being shoved through the tag. But I did want to actually check before I even make that final decision, my bag of trims from Felicity Jane, just in case I'm missing something fun here. Here is some like satin ribbon. I've got a black Rogaine, black velvety, just like the stuff I have actually, but I don't have it in black. There's a little tassel. That is super cute. Oh my goodness. And even a little bow. That's all adorable. But I think I'm going to stick with what I pulled out. and cut already. I definitely want to try to use this pom-pom on the edge of a transparency though. I've seen people do it a couple different times over the years, and I definitely want to try it. But a nice fun collection of trims there. And I also don't want to put this through until I do my journaling. So let me type something out and get that ready to go, and then I will be back in a moment. So just a quick shot of my screen here. What I decided to do, instead of just a plain old white background, is print it in this deep red with white text. And I pulled up my poinsettia photo again to draw a color from the photo exactly. So I actually picked from somewhere right about here, but if you look, you can see how much of an orangey red that is and how deep of a red that is. So it really didn't print like it normally would, but I'm hoping that I will get a nice raspberry red from around here, basically, even though it doesn't look like that on screen. So I measured the space, let's grab my tag, right here. If I go about an inch down, that hole is just above halfway. I think that'll be a nice spot to start the journaling. That way I'm not interrupting where the punch is. And I want to try to find a little digital word art from Allie to put something like along the bottom, just so it's not like super plain. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and I will show you the finished product once I get it typed up, printed, and we'll attach everything together. Alrighty, so loving how this came out. It's funny with me, like when I'm struggling, like I just know something is not right, and then when I do get a quick dose of inspiration, then I just kind of light up with what's going to happen. It's easier for me to plan the whole layout, come up with more creative ideas. But when I tell you I struggled for at least 4 hours staring at a photo, I'm not actually kidding. I looked for different transparencies and papers to do that triangle layout. I thought about doing a completely different picture from when I went to Target. You know, like I was on the struggle bus. So, and this is actually dry now. I ran my finger over all the stars, so I'm really happy with how this came out. It's gonna look so awesome with just that subtle bit of texture. And for some reason, printed a little bit too big. So I'm actually holding it up to the light to see where it's gonna fall. It's a little frustrating. This must not be a true 3x4. So I'm gonna put the adhesive on here so I know where it's gonna go. Try to center and line it up the best that I can here. I guess I should have measured my tag because it is less than 3, not by much, but definitely not a perfect 3x4 size either. Hopefully it is straight. Looks pretty good. It's a little thick right on the edge where some of the texture paste is, but I'm able to just cut right through it. And then I will grab my power punch and repunch that hole. Alright, that looks pretty good. So I tried a couple different phrases. I looked at Deck the Halls. I liked this one because it had the little line underneath. It kind of gave it a little more of something. Wrong side. Just needed a little something. I'm gonna just punch a teeny bit more. This hole's bigger than the 1/4 inch size. So I'm just trying to get all of it since I have to feed the ribbon through. That's what make them a nice smooth circle there as best I can. Alrighty, and then grab my cut piece of ribbon here. So I usually try to fold it in half so that it hopefully doesn't fray too much when it's going through the holes. And depending on the picture or the layout, I will change my mind sometimes on how I will do this. But I think I'm gonna go this way. Just trying to make sure it's as flat as I can get it here. And I'm gonna use another staple to staple that in place here. I think that looks pretty good. And I love this. I just love the texture that those stars, it's so subtle, but it's really, it's noticeable, but it's a really subtle texture, and I'm so happy with how that came out. And then the journaling on the back looks great. I did have an idea to add one of these star stickers potentially just to the bottom here. I could do green, but I'm kind of thinking about doing this one here just to give it like a little something. I thought about like stamping the date maybe. I don't want that. Let me try green here. Gotta get this back in the right spot here. It's just gonna pop right off. There we go. I tend to use my paper piercer a lot. Maybe something over the eye. Dot the eye. I'm just gonna pop it right there just to give it a little something else. Okay. All done, and that is day 2. Came out better than I even hoped it would, which is always makes me super, super happy. And let me put it in the album. And then I will be ready for day 3. Luckily, I won't feel as stuck because I already have a plan. And I actually really like the way, even though this is all greens, it's a nice dark tone. It's gonna look really nice across from here, even if I do decide to put another photo in. So really, really happy with how this album's coming together. So thanks so much for watching, and subscribe if you're interested in getting notifications when my videos come out, and comment and tell me what you think. You know, I'm definitely interested in interacting with people and seeing how you like my projects. So thanks again. Bye.